All right, welcome back to What's Up with Jessup. Now I'm looking at the conclusion of the conclusion, pretty much the summary of the conclusion. So here we go. What I'm going to do is pretty much rewrite the uh, the introduction of the last chapter in order to make a conclusion of or summary of what I talked about in chapter 3. So how do I do that? This chapter will spell out exact points of contentions that serve as obstacles to cooperation. So there are three. The last chapter found three major obstacles. Actually, these are common challenges. What are the actual points of contention? Um, so here, I'm going to first do a broad, like brainstorm kind of feel. Because first I have to say, humanitarian, well, human rights workers criticize impact of humanitarian aid because of military development, and diversion, pretty much, is what they're trying to say. So I think the main point here, criticism, is diversion to missile and nuclear program. Nuclear and missile program. So, and then bad monitoring. And then humanitarian aid workers criticize human rights in this matter. First, it's a political it's used for political purposes of naming and shaming, and then it disrupts diplomatic engagement. And this is prolongs people's suffering. And then I'm just going to maybe try calling a friend because there is urgent matter. So I'm going to just pause this for a second. I'm sorry about that. Oh, welcome back. I am done with calling. It happened that I didn't really need to call, or the person didn't respond. You know, I was just being very distracted, to be honest. That's what was happening. Um, so, oh well, it's okay. And let's go on. So, proponents of 8 argue that human rights criticisms disrupt diplomatic efforts of engagement due to human rights' strong link with strategic goals, conservative politics, and etc. All right, so we did that. So these are the criticisms against each other. I've wrote it down here. Now what I have to do is really summarize these into a few sentences, is all. So the main point of contention for the main challenge, the main obstacle, the main obstacle to cooperation for humanitarian So we first talked about humanitarian aid. Humanitarian aid, the main obstacle to cooperation. Well, let's first say, what did we do? We looked at the last chapter examined specific points of contention contention that barred the two communities from cooperating. I think what I want to say here is bar the two communities from cooperating. The main point of criticism, the largest, here, let's go to conclusion and say the main criticism against both were criticized for causing or impacting. You know what? I don't think I have to add that first sentence. Let's just go in head deep and just tackle it head on. So first thing is humanitarian aid. Critics. Humanitarian aid is most criticized for prolonging people's suffering by propping up the regime and letting it divert aid into its nuclear and missiles program. In contrast, human rights or rights advocacy is criticized for preventing criticized for disrupting is most criticized for prolonging people's suffering. In contrast, the largest objection to human rights is human rights advocacy is that it discourages, that it prevents or bars. Let's see, what's a different word for prevent? Averts, avoids, counters, blocks, hinders. It hinders aid workers from saving lives, that hinders aid workers from saving lives and disrupts diplomatic engagement for political purposes. So this sounds about right. This is a long paragraph, but I think that's about right of what I want to write here. So I'm going to write exactly what I just wrote in the summary section at the very end here by saying this. The last chapter examined specific points of contention that prevent the two communities from cooperating. Last chapter examined specific objections to the two communities. Points of contentions that prevent the two communities from cooperating. Humanitarian aid is most criticized for prolonging people's suffering by propping up the regime and allowing it to divert resources into its nuclear and missile program In contrast, human rights advocacy, the largest objection for human rights advocacy is that it hinders aid workers from saving lives and disrupts diplomatic engagement for political purposes. Amazing. So I'm done with that. Now what I can do is summarize the three main ways of, of cooperating. Ready? Three main challenges. Three common challenges. So now I can completely delete everything I've written so far and start over. All right. So now let's go with, despite these differences, this chapter identified three common challenges to both three challenges common to both communities. The three challenges common to both communities presented, despite these differences, common to both communities presents a unique opportunity for cooperation. Both areas are entrenched political affiliation. So I'm going to change politicization into political entrenchment as well. All right, I changed political affiliation or politicization into political entrenchment. Now I'm going to have some gum. Both areas are subject to politicization. I'm going to change it back to politicization because it's not really political entrenchment. That is that aid and rights, political purposes. The first challenge is that promoting aid and rights for political purposes has made it harder for NGOs to work collaboratively. Humanitarian aid has its fair share of both areas are often used for often abused for political purposes, making cooperation harder, are often abused for political purposes, making cooperation, making it harder to reach across the aisle, making it harder to reach across the aisle, reach across the aisle. Both communities have been neglected, in summits and financial support. Lastly, both work both of their work is unpredictable. Both of their unpredictable work Both of their work are can benefit from extensive collaborative planning due to oh, ow. I have a feeling I might be writing too much. Yeah, I might be. I've written 66 pages so far. Despite these differences, the three challenges common to both communities present a unique opportunity for cooperation. Both areas are often abused for political purposes, making it harder to and could benefit from both areas are often abused for political purposes and would benefit from professional norms. Benefit from I think I'm just going to delete it and just say are often abused for political purposes. They have both been they have both been neglected in summits and financial support. And lastly, both of their work are unpredictable unpredictability, the nature of North Korea requires extensive planning for continuous coverage of their work. For their work to continue in emergencies. Not emergencies, but special circumstances. Emergency. In special circumstances is, I think, better. In special circumstances. All right. So I've pretty much summarized the last part. I'm going to add this. Despite these differences, the three challenges common to both communities present a unique opportunity for cooperation. Both areas are often abused for political purposes. They have both been neglected in summits and financial support. They have both been neglected in summits and in terms of in bilateral summits, in terms of financial support, and at bilateral summits. Lastly, the unpredictable nature of North Korea requires extensive planning for their work to continue in special circumstances. Or to continue in ever-changing, in the always changing landscape, constantly changing landscape. In the constantly changing landscape. All right. Now I can delete it, and we're good. So the next part would be summarize basic recommendations, and specific recommendations. All right. Thank you for listening, and I hope this helped. And I'll see you in the next episode. I've done pretty much a summary of most of the paper. I have yet to summarize probably the very last parts of the conclusion. All right, I'll see you next time.